Hello and welcome back to A Journey to King's Cross, a Harry Potter book podcast, and we just finished Chapter 8, The Quidditch World Cup. The artwork, I believe, is supposed to be Victor Crumb because he's going for the snitch, so I'm guessing he's the seeker, if I were to hazard a guess.
Well, how's his nose look? Broken?
Not at the moment.
No.
It looks pretty clean, all things considered. Like, no serious injuries or anything.
Fair. I think that is Crumb, though. But yeah, they forgot his broken nose.
Yeah, it's weird that we get a cloud in the background, considering this is supposed to be taking place at night. You wouldn't really, unless the stadium is so brightly lit and everything, you can still see most of the sky pretty easily. I know some people are going to say, you can see clouds at night, and I'm like, valid, but it's not exactly it's not like a thick cloud or anything.
And it could also be from, the leprechauns or something.
The Vila were throwing fireballs, so maybe it's some smoke. Anyway, we finally get officially introduced to Narcissa Malfoy and everything. And, I have to admit, the description of dung being under her nose is honestly such a valid, thing to think about whenever you think of the snooty upper crust with their noses in the air, basically. Ugh.
Well, especially when they're forced to interact with the riffraff.
Peasantry.
Oh, man. The whole thing with, the Malfoys getting mentioned and everything, and then basically not even being referred to at all for the rest of the chapter is kind of funny.
Especially after you see the Vila and the leprechaun.
Right, it would have been fun to have a reaction. Either Draco also going crazy for the Vila, or trying to make fun of Harry for going crazy, even while he looks like he wants to fight Harry for the Vila.
Yeah.
I, of course, made the joke of, maybe he didn't react because he truly is gay for Harry.
The thing is, though, is if he was paying attention, he probably would have teased the hell out of either of them if he noticed any hint of weakness.
That's true.
So that's why I'm under the impression that something did in fact happen, and it's just not something they know because they're not looking backwards.
You would think Hermione would have at least been like, did you see Draco? Did you see Malfoy?
Oh,
he was enamored too.
Right. Something.
A little bit of world building I do like early on in this is the advertisements that get brought up, the all clean, all purpose magical mess remover,
Glad rags.
a family, a broom for this whole family and everything with an anti-burglar buzzer.
Right.
I couldn't
imagine trying to fly multiple people on a broom at once, though. That sounds so awkward.
Considering, especially when most of the artwork depicts just a regular, sweeping-looking broom. At least with, the movie brooms and stuff, which looks like they have, a foot, a place for you to plant your feet, basically.
Right.
And so, that feels like there could be some merit to having, a really long broom with, some car seats or something for the kids.
Just imagine.
Dangling baskets.
That's even better. I was trying to imagine, how would you make a broom bigger so that you could fit more people? And my brain was only coming up with, the dust mops or the push brooms. Because they're wider than a regular broom, but I'm like, that doesn't change the handle of it.
No, it does not.
No, you get a big enough push broom and everything, and you can have a bunch of people sitting on the actual broom while the person actually flying is towards the front.
It'd be the equivalent of all right, everyone pile in the truck bed.
giant shaped tea floating around.
Well, imagine how long it would have to be. Where would you store that?
I feel like storing a big broom would be a heck of a lot easier than storing a full-size sedan or something in a garage.
Fair.
Put it in the pocket that holds everything, whatever Hermione's purse was. The
push broom could fold in, basically, so you could just slide it in long ways.
There's ways to do this. We can figure this out.
You have some fucker collapsing your broom in the middle of the air just for kicks.
And of course,
joke's on him. He's the one falling.
Yes, Mitch?
We get introduced to Winky, who is accidentally mistaken as Dobby, so you know, way to go, Harry, for being a little, you know, race blind to frickin' house elves all being
To be fair, he's only seen the one house elf.
Right, and then he immediately was like, wait, no, this isn't Dobby.
So he's at least understanding that, oh, this is not...
I know, but I'm gonna shoot some holes in Mr. Perfect's mentality as soon as I can, okay?
Was Lucius, were the Malfoys already in the box when he started talking to Winky?
No, they showed up.
Okay, thank God. Otherwise, like, that's a bad memory to have.
No, because they were talking about Dobby, and then the narration said, and then came Dobby's former family.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, Winky, like, at least he paid for the extra seat for Winky.
I mean, that makes some semblance of sense. I do have to admit, though, the way she kind of describes Dobby, like, settling down with the family, it sounds very much like, the house elf gets married to the family, like, some, like, crazed bachelor running around causing problems and mayhem, like, ooh, he should be, settle down with a nice wizarding family and everything, and I'm like, that's an odd way to describe it. I never really kind of thought about it, but, like, the idea of Dobby being this crazy bachelor who never wants to get married and go run around the world causing trouble and shenanigans and everything is kind of an amusing prospect.
Especially when it seems like the house elf is part of whatever wizarding family has them.
Right.
For their life, unless, they're...
freed. I have to admit, though, I really do wish...
tricked into being freed.
I do kind of wish that Rowling did a little bit more with the whole house elf thing instead of kind of turning it into a joke with the whole spew thing.
Yeah.
It felt like she intentionally gave Hermione a bad name, basically, on that. And considering Harry witnessed what happened to Dobby in Book 2, you would have thought he'd been a little bit more on Hermione's side on this one,
I feel like the spew thing would have gone over better if we had seen more than just Dobby.
And Winky, because Winky's kind of mistreated as well during the course of this,
But, like, throughout, like, the whole series, we're seeing or hearing about the house elves and the way they're mistreated in the families.
Instead, she kind of does this whole, like, how do I put it? Haha, slavery, whatever.
It's fine. It's normal. It's not.
No, it's not.
To be honest, I'd be even, like, it's wild that a lot of the Muggle-born individuals who know all of the history of slavery and stuff aren't more uncomfortable with the situation themselves as well. Even now, it doesn't entirely sit well. That being said, the history behind the idea behind the house elves is brownies, which were helpful spirits that would do chores and work behind your back. Yeah, behind your back, and you weren't supposed to know about them. And you couldn't give them clothes for fear of offending them, or they'd go away and they'd never help at all.
You just had to leave them some milk.
Yeah. Which, to be fair...
you couldn't thank them either, or else you could offend them.
And to be fair, running with that would have been interesting, you know what I mean? Like, having these, like, entities running around and stuff.
Like, instead of them being enslaved or owned by the family, it's we run around, we help the families just for fun.
Yeah, like,
right.
Like Dobby, like, popping up randomly being like, I overheard something, and then because he's, like, really scatterbrained or something, he's not capable of remembering exactly who the person was that was responsible for this, for the house that they were randomly cleaning that day.
How many days ago was that? Whose house was I at?
I go all over the place and stuff and everything, and then, like, Dobby just has this distinct liking towards Harry and everything because of just the fact, and I mean, like, I feel like dealing with a scatterbrained, like, public servant that just appears and disappears at random would have been much more entertaining than what we got as basically a slave race in the wizarding world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what would have been a really interesting, like, side, maybe not a side point, scene, I think is what I want, like an interesting little scene that could have happened going with how she has the house elves in the story. Obviously, we're in the Quidditch Cup, we've got wizards from all over the world. It would have been really interesting for them to run across, like, a group of American wizards that have seen the house elves, and it's not a thing in America. I don't know if it is in, like, the American wizard lore, but, like, for them to be like, dude, we abolished that ages and ages ago, and you're still doing that.
It would be a nice take that, considering the whole no-match thing and not being allowed to marry them in the Fantastic Beasts. Having something where the Americans are much more further along on something would have been much more, like, would have been an interesting tit for tat, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know what
I mean,
especially with America's history with slavery, you know?
I was going to say, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time things have been weird.
Valid.
We're forward on some things and backwards on others.
Yeah.
But, Harry Potter, sports.
I do have to admit, I really wish we'd gotten a little bit more of the actual event, because it sounds so much more energetic than the matches at Hogwarts, basically.
Yeah, and they said that the Ireland team had women on it, right?
I don't think that anyone was mentioned.
I thought one, like they said...
No, wait, yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, because the first person who got fouled on the Irish team, I thought was a woman. But I think the Bulgarians were all men.
I could thumb through everything and stuff, but yeah, I'm not... we'll get to it. If we spot it, we'll get to it and everything. But I have to admit, the... shoot. I had a thought and everything, and now I've actually ended up losing it.
I don't know. You didn't give me anything to go off of.
Yep, nothing.
I know. But we, of course... Oh, I just kind of realized that technically, while Crumb being obvious and everything, Fleur actually gets like a kind of sort of early bird cameo since she's part Vila as well. Mm-hmm. Both of the major antagonists, like, you know, everybody gets like some representation for the overall Tri-Wizard tournament in a sense.
That's
Vila's Fleur.
Well, we know she could have been part of them.
I seriously doubt it.
No,
but
because it sounds like
she's only part.
Like the true Vilas that were part of the
true, and she's French, not
Bulgarian.
Yeah.
That is weird to me, though, that we've got a French half Vila and everything, but Bulgarian brings them as representation.
Well, Vila might be a Bulgarian, or like part of that European thing. I'm looking it up.
History, or like folklore.
Yeah.
To be fair, a lot of like European folklore has a lot of crossover and everything. Heck, the most famous character from Knights of the Round Table outside of Arthur is Sir Lancelot, and he's technically a French creation.
He's not canon.
What, Lancelot?
Yeah. I'm just making the joke about it because you're saying that he was a French creation. So, like, oh my god, he's a self-insert.
I'm pretty confident there's got to be some self-inserts in the, like, in that whole thing and stuff, because for a while that was, like, you know, their version of comics and stuff with superheroes and everything. I think technically Excalibur is also a French translation of the sword. It's not the original, like, British terminology either. So a lot of things from the French kind of took over the, you know, British folklore, so to speak, which is funny.
That's fair. Also, Excalibur wasn't even, like, the most important part. It was the scabbard.
Who you think you're talking to about this stuff? Don't cite the old Lord of Me Witch. I was there when it was written.
Yeah, okay.
That was a Narnia reference.
Yeah, who do you think wrote it? Oh.
C.S. Lewis.
Get the fuck out of here.
I am smartass.
Internet, we've got one white American male available for sale.
I am perfectly okay with being purchased.
Serious offers only.
I'm perfectly okay with being purchased so long as it gets me out of the United States right now.
Look, it's kind of ironic that while we're recording this, and this being the sports episode, there's all the Olympic stuff going on.
Yeah. I'd rather have at least one...
Go women's hockey team, yay!
They're awesome. The men can go F themselves for the most part. I think there was like 4 that technically... There was 5 total that didn't go, but one of them basically admitted that he couldn't go because of other obligations and would have been more than happy to go. So technically, only 4 members of the actual team have any frickin' class.
Hopefully
Okay,
that it wasn't
so-
just other things. But anyway, back to Harry Potter.
Took a little bit of digging. Found the Vila. So they're based on a Slavic term, villa, which is so Vila is an Anglicization of the Slavic term villa, and that is looks to be mostly like Russian, Western European, and like Canada type area.
Interesting.
So maybe some parts of France. Once you get into Central Europe here, I have a hard time telling what country's what because they're so small on the map. But definitely mostly Russian, which is where Bulgaria is.
I suppose with things moving around and people like getting married and stuff, like she could have basically had one of her parents could have been I think her mom could have been from that neck of the woods or something, and then moved and fell in love with a Frenchman.
Yeah, so her floor is quarter villa.
Yeah, so she did say her grandmother because of that was the
Juan.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to admit though, the idea of using the Vila to kind of distract the referee and everything, it sounds like this should have been a move that was done before, even though Ludo basically said he'd never seen anything like it. Basically, it's just like I feel like this trick could have been used at some point in the past beforehand, unless like the Bulgaria team had never made it this far into the league before, you know?
Right? But like, I mean, well, no, never mind. Don't listen to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a feeling they just never made it that far. But also, like, come on, guys, Vila, really? Those are your mascots? That had to have been intentional.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Their whole point was we're gonna fuck with them.
Like the whole thing, the whole bit with the ref and everything is kind of hilarious. I do like as much as Bagman is basically kind of shown off to be a prat of the highest caliber and everything in his own little way. Him saying somebody slap the ref is hilarious,
right? They just kick him in the shins.
Any sports, like anybody who's even slightly interested in sports, has probably cursed out the ref or the umpire at some point in time while watching.
It sounds like if they had known that they were going to be Vila, they should have had like a female ref, maybe.
Just make sure she's not gay.
Yeah. It does say the Vila affect people who are attracted to women.
Damn, I'm fucked.
So you want a straight woman to be the ref.
This is bullshit. You could also have a gay man.
Or a gay man, yep.
Yeah.
He'd be fabulous.
He would. So Dumbledore could do it.
Yeah.
Damn right! Hey!
He would look at the gay man will look at the Vila and be like, that's all you got? Bitch, please.
Dude, get on my hair game. I've got long hair and a long fucking beard. Come on.
True.
Oh, man. I have to admit, though, I am a little wilded out by the actual short. Like, I suppose at the same time, like, you know, it being a chapter and everything, drawing it out would be kind of pointless. But the way everybody talks about, like, Quidditch matches being able to go for extended periods of time, we never actually get to hear how that would work for the people actually watching it. Like, you gotta walk away from the game and go to sleep and eat food and stuff and just pray and hope the game's still on when you get back?
Yes.
Oh, that'd be infuriating. Like, could you imagine watching a game for like 18 hours or so, finally start collapsing, and you woken up to everybody celebrating the game's over.
You're like,
and
fuck!
Damn it!
I missed the final Keep your omnioculars on the whole time. Like, just have them set up on your seat.
Afford them.
Then you're fucked.
I like how
Hope you have a
Hermione
friend.
actually scolds Harry. She's like, if you're gonna watch in slow-mo and everything, you're gonna miss the entire match. She's like, shit, you're right. I do love the fact that Harry is got such amazing game sense that he's like, nope, that's not going to happen. Like every single Hermione and Ron are both consistently wrong when it comes to what's going to happen, and Harry's just sort of like got it on one basically.
I really expected Harry to just be like watching the game and just be like, shit, there's the snitch.
That would have been hilarious. It's like if the entire time Harry's like turning his head to everything,
And
he's
then
just
be
sort
like,
of like,
what are you watching?
the snitch. It's right there. It'd be like, wait, what? Like everybody like around him is just sort of. I honestly do feel like, especially before the whole thing with Barty, like, you know, with Mad Eye Moody and everything, that it really feels like Harry was gearing up to actually become a Quidditch star.
Yeah, like, I don't know why, like, why wouldn't he want to be a Quidditch? He loves flying. That's his favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Is to fly.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, it's Ginny who ends up going to the World Cup and everything, and he's basically in the crowd watching the game. And I'm
He's
like,
a trophy husband.
wild how that ended up working out, basically.
Right.
But I guess Ginny takes too much up after her mom, in a sense. It's like, I have to be doing something. I can't just be... or her dad. She's got to have something to do.
It also doesn't make sense why she's such a shit mom in The Cursed Child.
To be fair, Harry's a shit dad in The Cursed Child.
Yeah, and she just lets him be a shit dad. Because the Ginny that we know would be like, smack him on the back of the head, be like, Harry, get your shit together.
Honestly, that book pisses me off so much, because when that first got released, I was just taking my first steps into being a parent, because it was around the time Rose was being born. And so I remember, like, so many of my favorite characters at the time that I enjoyed reading and watching and stuff, all turning into horrible freaking parents.
Like
and that did not great. Yeah, that did not go great in my anxiety. To be fair, Boruto's also a bit of a little shit himself, but
maybe if his dad wasn't such a bad dad, he'd be a better kid.
Well, actually going through and actually reading it and stuff, Harry was a great dad up until the point he became Hokage and fully dedicated himself to his job. My wife has never...
No. Harry was a great dad until he became Hokage.
Oh, okay, I see what I did there. I see what you did. My bad.
Now you understand my way, huh?
This is the wizard way!
Naruto was a great dad until he became Hokage, and then he started missing important family events and stuff because he was too focused on his job.
Yes.
So
okay,
that's my bad. I think at the time they were rebooting Superman at the time, and they brought back the post-crisis, pre-New 52 Superman, and he was actually being a great dad. And I was like, oh, thank God, somebody. I mean, if anybody out of all of my favorite characters was going to be a great dad, it was going to be Superman, because it's like, it's in the fucking name. You know?
Superman, not super dad.
If you're a Superman, you got to be a super dad if you are one, you know?
But
you're not a very Superman if you fail at the most important thing you can do as a man.
But can you be a super dad but not be a Superman?
I would like to believe that works as well.
Okay.
Because being a super dad is an act of physicality. It's, being there for your kids and, not doing anything like mean or cruel or evil. Anyway, yeah, like where were we and stuff and everything?
We were talking about the Vila and then we got sidetracked.
The whole fight with the Vila and the leprechauns is kind of hilarious in the grand scheme of things, though.
Surprising that Harry paid attention to it.
They must have been more interesting than the match itself, because we get a lot more description on what they're up to than the actual match itself is half the damn time.
I mean, to be fair, there's only so much you can write about the match.
It would just be 4 paragraphs of name, score, name, foul.
I mean,
they're going for the
I guess you're right. I feel like Quidditch probably will work much better as a visual thing than an actual reading thing. And
which is also probably why the game was over in like an hour or two.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, we didn't really get much of it on TV either, though, or like on the movie. I feel like they didn't really show much of the game.
No, they didn't. They were like, introduce the teams,
and then
done.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that when they made Book 4, which was arguably like one of the biggest up to that point and everything, even beforehand they were still cutting stuff out, you know? And so because they weren't splitting the movies in half, even at
that wasn't a thing yet.
Yeah, until they did it for the final one and everything. There is no possible way you could fit all of this into a decently runtime movie. That's part of the reason I was excited about the TV show, is I was like, they could literally, like, really stretch these out and everything. Yeah.
Shit from the TV show. We're going to have words.
They're adding, actually, from what I heard.
Good. As long as it
maybe
fits.
Good.
Maybe good.
That's why I just added as long as it fits.
Apparently, they're already doing scenes at the Malfoy Manor. so we're going to be seeing Malfoy Manor in like the first season or two instead of waiting until like the final book, basically. I was planning on bringing this up after the chapter was
Daddy,
done.
why won't he look at me?
But from the sounds of it and everything, they are definitely going to be expanding we're not going to be just following Harry throughout the course of the TV show. So, again, it's one of those catch-22s where it's like, this could be a really cool, interesting idea, or this could backfire spectacularly, depending on what they do.
Yeah.
Especially considering the Cursed Child's got, like, Rowling's stamp of approval, and from what I've heard, she's kind of hands-off with the TV show, from what I've heard. I think as time has gone on and her popularity online has dipped, that it seems as though even if she is involved, she's publicly avoiding being directly involved with a lot of stuff too.
Or maybe she's smart enough to realize that if I get involved with this, nobody's going to want anything to do with it, so I'll earn less money.
I mean, have
To
you
be
guys
fair,
noticed
she
how
ain't
much
getting any
Harry
money from
Potter
me.
collab stuff has come out lately? And, like, the show's not even out yet.
Yeah.
And, like, but there's been a lot of Harry Potter drops lately. Like, Walmart had a whole, like, makeup.
Really? Makeup?
Yeah.
Yeah, makeup and, like, makeup.
I contemplated buying it, even though I don't use makeup, just because it was Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I'd recommend not.
That's why I didn't buy it, because I don't wear makeup.
Also, same. I thought about getting at least some of it, because, like, they had hairbrushes. They just dropped a bunch of Harry Potter toothbrushes.
Oh, I didn't see all that.
Or a little while ago, and now they've got the whole baking lineup. That it's finishing sugars and butterbeer extract, which is just butterscotch.
Maybe it wasn't Harry Potter.
Because, like, butterbeer extract would just be butterscotch extract, like flavoring extract.
That's probably cheaper to buy that than go after the frickin' Harry Potter themed stuff, to be honest.
If it exists. Well, yeah, actually, butterscotch extract would exist. You just have to go to a bakery. Like, or like a baking goods supply store, is what I mean. But yeah, it's one of those, like, a lot of Harry Potter drops have happened, and it's probably because they're not making money off of shit. So they have to release a bunch more stuff to keep people interested or to hope that they can make up for the sales on it. Because a lot of fans are like, well, I'm not going to buy brand new Harry Potter stuff to not support Rowling.
To be fair, this is, like, her reputation getting tanked and stuff has actually been great because a lot of my friends have been giving me their Harry Potter stuff if they want because they just can't stand to have it.
Did you ever mention that?
I was getting to that. I got a couple of the textbooks from a friend of mine, basically.
Oh, nice.
So, Quidditch Through the Ages,
I don't have that one.
Fantastic Beasts.
I have that
think
one.
I got one other one over there, basically, but we might consider going through those at some point in time after we get through more of the series or if we get close to the end and we want to draw this out a little bit more. We have options.
Oh, Tales of Beetleborg.
We actually had a chapter book version of that with, like,
Yeah, but this one's going to be
notes and
cooler
stuff.
because this one looks like a big old picture book.
Oh, nice. Oh, you have the fancy ones.
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe not that. I mean, that one looks cooler than the one we have. But I like the one we have, too.
I want to know what your Fantastic Beasts version looks like because mine has Harry's notes scribbled in it. And I think we were gonna go over them because we were gonna do a Crocodile Hunter style, like just talking about the animals and stuff.
We still need to go back and actually look at the illustrated versions of the books as well because my daughter still we've got the first 4 of those.
That's just a
here.
synopsis, though.
It's the same book, but I wouldn't mind talking about some of the artwork again because
Talking about the artwork is fine.
I don't
We
think
did
this
an
one
art
has
chapter.
any of Harry's notes in it.
because we
Boo.
didn't talk. Oh.
That would have been an even better one to put his notes and scribbles on. 'Cause
Yeah.
he has conversations with Ron and Hermione in some of them too.
We could definitely go back and forth on those and actually look over the actual notes and have more of a visual art thing as well. So,
True.
plenty of ideas on that department.
But anyway, back to the game.
Yeah, I have to admit, like,
I do like the Bulgarian Prime Minister having fucked with Fudge the whole day.
oh yeah.
You could speak English this whole time? Yeah. Well, why'd you let me do that? It was funny.
I mean, why not? Like,
Right.
we don't like Fudge anyway, especially considering what he does at the end of the series book and stuff. So anything that makes fun of him is fine in my book.
And chances are, Fudge probably just assumed he couldn't speak English. And was really shitty about it. So he's like, yeah, okay, we'll make this funny today.
Racist prick.
I mean, it tracks.
I mean, even if
For
he's
Fudge.
like even though I don't think he is like against like Muggleborns and stuff and everything, but the fact that he's like perfectly okay with hanging out with Lucius Malfoy and everything means that racism isn't a deal breaker for him, which
I have
should
Muggleborn
be.
friends. That's
Yeah, I get what you're doing and everything. I just was thinking of a way to really respond to it. I was like, maybe not the best topic to make jokes about, to be honest. But I do have to admit, does anybody know what a duck walk is? Because Harry mentioned, duck. He was like
Duck-footed.
duck-footed. Like, what is like? Is like his like?
your feet are like pointed or spread apart. Like you walk like this and kind of
You got a bit of a
More of like a wobbly gait, I think.
kind of wobbly,
kind of like a cowboy walk, I guess. Considering
which is really lends support to the theory that Victor is is also a half magical creature.
never heard of that one before. Actually,
There's a. Hang on. Keep talking while I look this up.
I mean, fair enough, though. I mean, to be perfectly honest, he's always. It's weird that both him and Fleur are like always kind of like compared to birds and stuff in a sense. More so with Crumb because he's a Quidditch player and everything, but being half Velo, which is a flying creature, which, by the way, kind of reminds me of the original idea of the Sirens. I know we've kind of transformed them into merpeople and everything.
Like,
the Vela are very,
very siren.
in the traditional sense of like Greek
Turning
mythology.
into birds.
Yeah, not mermaid. They're not having more in common with mermaids.
Okay, so there's a theory that there's a creature that's called a Dooku Waka, I think. It's a guardian of fishermen capable of shifting into a man with a shark's head. So there's a theory that because like they're not as good on land, better in the water kind of thing. There's a theory that he's has
This is what they mean by the duck foot walk.
Huh. Interesting.
yeah. So there's a theory that that's what Victor is, and so it wasn't necessarily a failed partial
Transformation. It was him
from being
kind
an
of.
animagus, but it was more of a hereditary thing that he had.
Oh, it's not a failed animagus, because if it was failed animagus, he'd
Or
be
no,
permanently stuck with
failed
the creature.
charm or something, whatever.
An incomplete transformation would
Yeah.
probably be more accurate.
So
Though, to be honest,
it would make more sense if he had a inherent ability to become part shark.
It would also explain why he wants to swim all the time, especially in the frozen lakes of Black Sea.
Right?
it's not like he's a wizard or anything. He could potentially put a charm that keeps him relatively warm or something on it. Just saying.
Because I was thinking, like, she picked very, very Western European, Russian type names. Because I don't know the actual name that you would use for...
She's really bad at names.
The fact that one of her most popular characters was a name stolen off of a gravestone should kind of indicate that.
Oh, no. No. Okay, so I found this while I was looking up... Moon, damn it! So...
Werewolf McWerewolf.
Yeah, sorry, werewolf McWerewolf. But continue, Brady.
So when I was looking up the Vila and where that lore originated from, there actually, if you look into Bulgaria's history, they actually had, was it an emperor or something? And they had, like, it was a dynasty or whatever. The person in charge of Bulgaria, like, way back when, it was the Crumb's family dynasty is what it was.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So, like, a lot of the interesting names were literally just stolen from, like, history, more or less. And that explains Harry's kids' names to a degree, though. If she's so bad at coming up with names and everything, it's just sort of like, I'll just cobble together some names from important characters that, in the book and everything, and be like, yeah, Harry named a bunch of his kids after people that he really, like, honored and cared about and shit. And I'm like,
well, she might have been like, oh, wizard Quidditch game, Bulgaria, Bulgarian history, Crumb.
Man, all I can think of is right now when we're saying Bulgaria, and I can't stop thinking of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
How come?
Because they go to, I think it's Bulgaria, but that's where they go to, and then there's the child. It's, every time she says it, I keep thinking Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
So I should say it more.
Maybe. But anyway.
Yeah. Oh, there was something else I think we were... Did I mention this in the previous chapter when we were talking about the bets and stuff along those lines? Or... It sounds like a familiar...
we talked about the bets a little bit.
I remember saying... I think I remember making a comment that, Arthur knew about this whole thing and basically just used the bet as a kind of a little way to pay, him back for having the top box seat, basically, or something. It is kind of...
Oh, yeah, you did mention that.
I have to admit, though, I do enjoy the plot point of Fred and George dealing with Bagman over the course of the entire book, basically, before finally getting revealed at the end.
Oh, yeah, and I for also that it was surprising that Hermione didn't immediately call out Ron, be like, Ron, Leprechaun Gold isn't, won't stick around. But Mitch made a good point of, it's either, A, she was trying to be tactful and not embarrass Ron.
In front of the Malfoys.
Or possibly didn't know.
Hermione might know something. Write it on the calendar.
I really kind of feel like, Hermione might, due to the fact that she's Muggle-born and everything, might have a different impression of what what leprechauns are and everything, and that could line up a little bit differently than her viewpoint. Because we've had so many folklore stories about people trying to steal leprechaun gold and it being a permanent thing that gets moved around and stuff,
Fair.
So it wouldn't surprise me if maybe in that moment and everything she probably didn't bother doing any research, because they are considered magical creatures, and they're just, I think they just started, their magical creature education last year and everything. And that might not have been something Hagrid would have gone over, because obviously,
But Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was a required book in year one. And I do believe they are listed in...
Leprechauns are in Fantastic Beasts. I was looking through because I was like, oh, I wonder if the Veela are in here.
That is weird, though, that you're not taking a Fantastic Beasts class, but they still have to have the book for first year. What book was that even associated with for first year?
Who knows? It could have just...
It might have just been more
a reference textbook?
Maybe, yeah. Or, your half-bloods in pureblood wizard, the people who grew up in the wizard families would probably know about a lot of those magical creatures, but, Muggleborns wouldn't, so it might have been, one of those...
A supplemental textbook of, if you have questions, you can reference this book.
Yeah. Because I know, when I was in school for vet med, we had a couple of textbooks that we never opened, but it was kind of...
It's there if you need it.
Yeah.
Reference these specific books as opposed to finding the information on your own.
And that's one way to obscure what you'd consider magical education being, if we are comparing what's equivalent to mandatory education to, unmandatory college classes.
Well, you would think that there would be more general education classes at Hogwarts in your first year to introduce you to more workings of the wizarding world. Because you have a bunch of kids who are maybe not as well up to date on those kinds of things. The things that America doesn't do for their students.
Yeah, but if American history is if Americans are backwards and falling, not able to keep up with their capacity and stuff, the wizarding world is usually pretty backwards on its own and everything, just automatically. So it being even more backwards on its education would be even more likely, They're
still using quills and parchment rolls.
Doesn't make any sense.
Have you seen their cameras? They're straight out of the early 1900s, 1910s.
They hodgepodge so many things of what can and cannot work. I would have imagined even the oldest camera wouldn't necessarily work at Hogwarts, and yet for some reason it does. And even wilder, a Muggle-born student is the one who brings it in.
Yeah. If it's just the way you developed the film, cool, I'm gonna go buy a disposable camera from Walmart.
Right.
My ass almost said Kmart.
Wow.
90s kid much.
Just a bit. Maybe we can get it on a blue light special.
Yeah. I mean, those things aren't digital at all. It's just a freaking disposable camera. You just gotta develop the film the right way. That should work at Hogwarts.
They have a flash, though.
So did Colin Creevy.
I know,
Yes.
I'm saying, but like that says a little more technologically advanced. Having a flash, I don't know. The whole thing doesn't make any sense.
The whole thing is just sort of like a
You have to have
headache
some
and a
sort
half.
of flash for cameras, because that, like, I don't ask me for all the ins and outs, but I just watched, today I found out video on color photographs, and today I found out it's a YouTube channel, and they were talking about how, like, it was started. It was about, like, the light hitting whatever plates they had.
Yeah, that
So
were
you would
reactive.
have to have a flash, so it would take the picture.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Anyway,
it's a lot more. Cameras are weird. I don't know how they work. It's magic.
Maybe that's why they work.
Like, they had a radio thing going on in the final book and everything, and that's
Yeah.
almost entirely like electricity based and stuff. And they were doing it inside of the Hogwarts Room of Requirement, which, like, oh man,
Magical waves.
like at least a record player is almost like an old enough record player being entirely analog would make some semblance of
Yeah, like
sense
the
of why it
giant
would work.
gramophone that Professor McGonagall was using.
Yeah. That at least makes some semblance of sense for working inside of Hogwarts.
Yeah.
But after a point, it starts getting a little pedantic at what does and doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's whatever J.K. Rowling thought was aesthetically cool.
Yeah.
Or aesthetically retro.
I mean, honestly, anytime I imagine the Wizards radios, and maybe the movies.
It's those old timey ones.
Yeah!
You mean the cool ones?
One of the
Yeah.
sun comes out all garbled.
Because you're talking with a transatlantic accent. I can't
And
do trans-
we've got ourselves a rip-roaring, good old-fashioned scalper knocker right here, folks. We've got it all.
You're not
Is he
putting-
speaking words?
You're not putting the right
Let's-
tinny sound to it.
Tinny sound. Let's get ready to rumble.
Alistair from Hasbin Hotel.
That just threw me for a loop because.
Alistair could be from Supernatural or.
Oh, I forgot about Supernatural. No, the first two thoughts that jumped in my brain almost simultaneously is my son, because that's his middle name, and two,
Oh, yeah.
his book, his main character's name is Alistair.
Spelled differently.
But that was the first thing, those first two things that popped into my head.
Anyway, we're about
I think we're
40
rambling.
minutes in. Yeah, we've been rambling.
We've
for a
been
while.
rambling for a bit.
And it's also about 9:20, so our friend, Kimmy here, has probably got to start moseying to some degree.
Probably, but they want to go to bed.
I really kind of do.
Well, I guess until next time, you can find me at Luna's Creation Corner, where I have started my 151 Pokemon Stash Bust. So far, I'm 2 videos in. And this weekend, maybe I can get a couple more prepped and ready to go, since I don't have to work overtime.
Yay!
Yay!
Lucky you.
You can find me on YouTube under Brandywine Stitches, and all the rest of the socials, I am under Hockeytown Candle Co.
Cole Sanders, all one word, lowercase on Twitch, gaming on Mondays and Wednesdays. I do jump out of that schedule on occasion and play like games like Dead by Daylight and Helldivers 2. If anybody's interested to come by and say hi, I'd appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for joining us. I hope you leave a like, comment, and subscribe and everything. And in the meantime, keep your wands at the ready. See you next time.
Bye!